welcome to Seagulls Social. This is the Manchester United away match reaction. And we lost, finally, at Old Trafford. We had such a great record at Old Trafford. But it's finally come to an end because basically Man United decided to get a competent goalkeeper and quite a few good forward players. So that was a good time.
And we just decided Old Trafford, it was Christmas Day, and we were going to gift them 3 goals, essentially. Or you could have 4 goals. That was great. That was really fun.
But boys, just quickly, both Ben and Jack were there in the away end. I was working, so sadly I couldn't go. But talk to me just quickly, boys. What was it like, the atmosphere? What was the day out like? Anything to report? Anything to talk about?
Day out was fun.
Yeah, day out was good. Sorry, you go first, Ben.
Yeah, I was going to say, me and Jack got the train with my brother and my cousin who are United fans. That was quite a fun dynamic. And then went our separate ways when we got to Manchester. Then we all met out after the game as well, which was good fun. Went to a pub, done some karaoke. Jack didn't do karaoke, which was pretty heartbreaking. He was debating it.
That would have been some great footage. BTS, the Social away day. Yeah.
Quite fancied Life is a
Roller Coaster. Yeah, that would have been really well.
I did like your brother's choice of Little Respect.
Yeah.
By Erasure. Good tune that. So,
yeah, Sam's got some good music.
Despite being a United fan from Hove, I'll give him respect for his music sense.
Out and in from Hove.
Yeah, that's a shambles, by the way.
No
Sam is
listening
and watching.
The stadium itself, it's always rubbish, isn't it? You get a pint and you get served a Madri in a plastic cup, a can of Madri in a plastic cup. Sorry, you don't even get any draft. It's just piss poor. They really don't treat you well in that end. It wasn't fun. I don't know. It was a weird game. I thought we started quite well and thought, this is going to be another fun day out at Old Trafford, going to our home from home. But it didn't turn out that way. Weirdly, a couple of mistakes, a deflection, and then just capitulated really.
Yeah, I think you summed it up quite well, Ben. But let's get into the first half. First half. I agree with you. I thought there was little moments. I remember when Minter ran through, got past Euro really easily. Could have maybe got shot away a bit earlier. And we did look quite bright. We were passing it around the pitch quite well. It seemed to be, like you said, going okay. But then Man United did look a little bit dangerous. The save from Cunha, Verbruggen. Great save, to be fair to him, in the first half. Kept us in it. But then, Ben, like you say, it was basically we were our own downfall, wasn't it? It was our own downfall. We just basically sort of self-imploded at times. And let's quickly, before we get into the goals and all the sort of main action, there was a penalty shout. And Jack, I'll start with you. The Kuiper on Diallo. Personally speaking, I think it was a penalty. I thought we were quite lucky to get away with that one. But Jack, what are your thoughts on that? The Kuiper challenge?
Yeah, I think that was definitely. I thought that was a penalty in the ground, and I've looked back at it, and I guess it wasn't given. He might have got a flick on it. Still think it's a poor decision. I wasn't overly impressed with that. I did think the officials, which I'm sure we'll get onto later, had a bit of a bad game all round. Anthony Taylor seemed to get in a mood where he didn't give United a free kick, and then he decided for about the next 30 minutes no one was getting a free kick for anything. So I think about 4 United players got booted in the air, 3 or 4 Brighton players got booted in the air. It was all a bit of a mess all over the place. So I wasn't very impressed with the refereeing all round, really, even from a neutral perspective. For me, I thought that was a penalty. I think we're lucky to get away with that. I think De Kuiper, a little bit unlucky if he has given away the penalty there, but we got away with it. So moving on.
Yeah, Ben.
It's fair. I only actually just saw it today when in the ground. I thought that Diallo had died, and the fact that they never checked it, I thought, there must have been absolutely nothing in it. Then looking back on it, and it's been this much controversy. I don't understand how they wouldn't have gone back and looked at it. I mean, I didn't watch the broadcast, so I'm guessing they must have checked it, right?
They checked. Yeah, they checked them all.
Yeah, they checked it and they said no foul, which was, I think that was the most confusing thing. Obviously, me watching on, like you said, on TV and having the luxury of replays, I was like, we've got away with that. Because I was watching it in the pub, and it was like, it was quite a few Man United fans, obviously, in London, obviously.
In London,
standard. standard procedure. And yeah, like they're all like up in arms, which I mean, rightly so. If that happened, I think the other way round, if that was, you know, let's say Diallo on De Kuiper, the other way round, we would be screaming for a penalty and say it was a shocking decision. So yeah, I thought we definitely got away with one there. But yeah, I mean, if you guys say in the stadium it looked a bit, I mean, Jack says he thought it was, you didn't think it was, so maybe that's what's
I don't think it was.
caused the
And maybe for once they actually followed the rule where it's like they only go back to it if it's a clear and obvious mistake, and maybe it wasn't an actual clear and obvious mistake, and that's maybe why they didn't overrule it.
Because at the end of the day, he does get a little flick on the ball. I think he's taken more of the man than he's gone the ball. It's not like it reminds me of a tackle that Lamptey made. I think it was on some Arsenal player.
Yeah, I remember this.
A few years ago.
Gabby Jesus, I think it was.
Yeah, it was on
oh
Jesus.
my god, yeah, I remember this.
And he did flick the ball. He did get to the ball first, but ultimately he's taken the man before he's really intended to get the ball. So it's one of those ones where I think if it wasn't given, you could argue that it's one of those ones where I actually think weirdly it's a good use of VAR that they haven't gone against what the referees made on the decision. I just wish they'd be a little more consistent with that. Because yeah, I mean, we've had penalties in the past where they've been in that sort of situation where it's very subjective, and they've gone back and looked at it and changed it. So maybe a bit of consistency, but I think we're lucky to get away with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're all in agreement somehow, I think, just about.
Yeah.
But let's talk about just before the goal, yeah, like I said, Cunha had a good chance, obviously skipping away from Lewis Dunk. Good little move from him. He actually looked, you know, you got to give credit to Cunha. He did look very good. We all knew he was good when he was at Wolves last season. Yeah. But he looks like he's now starting to hit a bit of form for United. Yeah, got away from Dunk quite easily. And then a good save from Verbruggen. Credit to Verbruggen. Solid save from him. And then it was Cunha again. But the question now, Ben, remains is how poor was it on our part? Because, you know, we've spoken about it. You know, could we have cleared our lines better? Then we had a couple of chances to get the ball clear. Could we have pressed better? It looked like Baleba was just watching the action, sort of like a bystander, and just letting Cunha just have all the time in the world. Yeah, good finish, but could we have done better defensively?
Yeah, absolutely. We shot ourselves in the foot multiple times. I think the issue was, like, we tried to play out of the back what felt like a couple times, and then with the third time you're thinking, right, we're failing to just get 5 yards clearer of the box, let's just boot the ball away. But no, we try it again. I think the ball was I think it went to Rutter maybe, and that's where we were dispossessed. And yeah, then like a couple pinballs, and then it lands to the Cunha, and I think it's a really, really good finish, to be fair to him. Can't really do too much with it, but it's just the trying and trying again until then we just have chaos and something goes wrong against us. I don't really understand the thought process there. Like I said, if you've tried to get the ball out twice and play out the back fancy and it doesn't pay off, then just clear your lines, because otherwise that's going to happen. And a player like Cunha, they've got unbelievable players. I know they obviously had their issues, Man United, but individually they do have quality. So, and they are going to punish you if you do make a mistake multiple times, and they did, unfortunately.
Jack?
Yeah, again, just like so many opportunities to clear the ball, really frustrating. Again, just like, yeah, I think there just needs to be a little bit of, I don't know, it's hard to say whether it's leadership or just being more direct. But yeah, we're doing stupid stuff, like stop just booting the ball out and just get it out when we're in this situation. We don't need to pass it around a bit more, look for those. You think he'll come with a bit of experience, and look, I think Cunha, like you said, he's a very good player, and actually, their front three is quite good, and they spent a lot of money on them for proven talent, and it is starting to come together a little bit. So, conceding that goal wasn't a massive surprise, but we need to do better than give them the opportunity, because they're going to make their own opportunities, so we don't need to give them more opportunities on top of that.
We also missed one of our bigger opportunities as well. I think it was broke down the right. I think it was Ferdi Kadioglu was down the right, or maybe it was Welbeck that crossed the ball across the box, and it looked like it was sitting perfectly to Minter, and I was getting ready to scream and shout, but it was just like the worst finish ever. He almost just like deflected off his foot and just went out wide for.
I think it would have been offside
for a throw-in.
He was slightly. He was slightly ahead of play. Yeah. So I think it would have been ruled out regardless. But I agree. But it was all part of the master plan. It was all part of the master plan. No, but no, I agree though, Ben. Like that, regardless of whether it was offside or not, you have to be doing better there. I agree with you. I think there's too many chances where we just didn't. Yeah, it just weren't clinical. I think that is actually the storyline of the game. If you actually look at the stats, of the game, right, expected goals 1.29 Man United, 1.12 to us. 44% Man United ball possession, 56% us. Total shots 17 us to their 11. And then 11 to 7. And then we also had 4 shots on target, 6 shots on target for Man United. But it's just clinical. They were obviously got a bit of luck with the second one. But it just, I think the storyline for me is just they were so much more clinical than us. And that was, unfortunately, our downfall. But, I mean, look, it's not all doom and gloom, I don't think. Because I think Man United are now starting to hit a bit of form. They're, was it 3rd in the table, 4th in the table now?
Fourth.
So,
well, I don't know
yeah.
the results today, but...
Exactly, yeah. I think, Spurs went 3rd. I think Man United might be 4th now. But yeah, I mean, they are starting to get a bit of traction now, Man United. But let's talk about Baleba quickly, because I mentioned Baleba for the first goal.
The big talking point.
Yeah. Now, look, we've been watching Brighton all season. We, as Brighton fans, know that Carlos Baleba has been pretty poor this season. I think maybe he's had maybe one good half of football this season, maybe at a push 2 halves, if that. But he's usually either getting dragged at half time, dragged at 60 minutes, or he's just having a terrible game and not influencing the game the way we know he can. And was it against Newcastle? We thought, he's and that's the first half of football I'm talking about. He looked really good, and then you thought going into this Man United game, we might see the old Carlos Baleba, but we saw this season's Carlos Baleba. Ben, what was that like watching him, and how frustrating has he been this season?
Oh, it was incredibly frustrating, but it was also sad. Like, we're talking about a player that was one of our best players last year, and to then have what feels like the whole away and just being like, get off of the pitch, you're useless. I'm pretty sure even when he did get subbed, I heard boos, which is pretty poor, unless that was a United fans as well. But it sounded like it was coming from the Brighton away end, which is really sad, because he's a young lad as well. And like I said, one of our best players. It looked like he was playing in a red shirt, like the amount of mistakes he was making and just the lack of.
He's trying to get. He thought he'd already transferred. He thought he'd already made the move.
Yeah, genuinely, it looked like that. It's just crazy, like how this whole transfer saga's done this, and whether United even still come back in for him, I don't know. My brother was joking, saying, "Oh, we'll come back in for him and take him for 40 mil now. It's all part of our master plan, like to get the money off of him." So I've no idea what's going to happen in the future with him. I really hope he does come good, but yeah, at the moment, I'm not just saying it as a joke. He looked like he was playing for Man United, and we were a downer, man, because it was always a mistake. The balls were going wide. He just looked lost. So lost in that midfield.
Stupid foul.
Ayari looked fantastic, and Ayari was great again, I think. It was a shame that he had to get dragged as well. Well, maybe not fantastic. I thought he was good.
I don't agree with that.
Well, you don't think he was good?
No, I thought he had a stinker.
Really?
And that's not like on Ayari. I think he's got every right to have a stinker, because he's been so... Not every right to have a stinker. He shouldn't be having a stinker. But, I think, overall, we just weren't very good as a whole, and I thought that was because Ayari was just a little bit lower than the levels he's been showing all season.
But yeah, it didn't help that he had Baleba. Well, he was literally had someone playing against him, next to him, in the midfield. So it was a one-man midfield at times.
It's like,
Matt, to answer your question, it was more just frustrating, but also quite sad to see.
Yeah, sorry. I just realised at that time. Do you remember when Real Madrid? I think it was Benzema in the tunnel at half time. He was like, "Brother, he's playing against us." I think it was about Vinny.
To Vinny.
Vinny Jr. Yeah, and it's just like, literally, yeah, it reminds me of that. But Jack, same question to you. What do you think it is like? We talked about it, I think, all season about what could it be? Is it a mentality problem? Because we know it's not. Well, it is, isn't it? Because we know it's not a technical.
Well, yeah, it's a mentality problem. Yeah, I think, this is the problem. Like, I think he needs to just get a grip. Like, we've seen it so much recently, and he's just not performing at the level. And I think I've said this before on the podcast, but I think Baleba's concentration has never been good. Even last season, he had that run. Didn't he have that run when he was still playing his best, but he was still giving away a penalty, like 3 games in a row, I think it was?
Yeah.
Right, penalty by just doing something stupid. And I think a little bit, so there's 2 ways to look at this. Like, his mentality has to improve, and that's down to the coaches, the way the club is run, everything through the club has got to coach that into players, because that's what we're there for, to nurture players, nurture talent, and to make his concentration better. The other thing is that the manager needs to seriously start thinking, right, Baleba isn't going to be an option now. What is going to be our way forward as a team? Because Baleba has basically been the fact. Baleba's underperformance has basically been the story of the entire season. Now we need to look at what is a viable way of us playing without Belieber. Now we need to work out what that is. I don't know. I think I've got an idea whether that may be Weaver in his role. I think that's what we all agree with. But I was just, if people saw my eyes moving down, I was just reminding myself of the second goal. But the second goal, he's just given away the ball through like a lack of crisp passing. Like the passing, if we're gonna, I think this is also partly down to the manager, but we'll get onto that later. But his passing just isn't there. His passing isn't good. He's received the ball. He's in a situation where last season he would have taken that ball, either sent it back or controlled it and taken on his man and gone round it. Instead, he's just lost possession, passed to Casemiro, who admittedly he's got quite lucky, although I'm a bit disappointed that Yari's put his back to it. I think we could have done better.
It's going wide. That's the annoying thing as well.
It's going wide.
It's going so wide.
And so it's unlucky that we've conceded that goal. Like, I think that's, you look at that and unlucky, but in other ways it isn't unlucky because we've given them the opportunity to have that shot. So for me, very disappointing. I think Carlos Baleba needs to sort himself out because then no clubs are going to want him. But ultimately, if this is part of some bizarre plan, which I don't think it is, look, we've had a summer of unprofessional players, and don't get me wrong, I don't think Belieber is that kind of guy. I certainly hope not anyway, because that would be very, very disappointing. But if he's in this situation where, maybe under instructions from agents or something like that, he's basically been told, right, play terrible, then Brighton will let you go for a lower fee. Are we being taken a piss out of here? I don't think that is the case. I do think it is his concentration. But yeah, it's disappointing to see at the moment. But I think the manager needs to be saying that to Carlos Belieber, instead of you being a name on a team sheet, you've got to fight for your place on the team sheet. And, I think we need to start looking at other options like Weaver or Milner or other people in that role.
Do you think during the game, or maybe even before the game, do you think he was walking out of Old Trafford thinking, I'd rather be playing for the other team?
No, I don't think so. I would hope not. I hope not. And, I was saying this to a United fan yesterday that, despite them being terrible, they still have that pull. They're still one of the biggest clubs in the world. But I think Carlos Belieber, if he had any sense, he'd be looking higher than Man United. And that's not disrespectful to Man United, but, there are clubs in better positions than them at the moment, and maybe he's looking there. But at the same time, he's also possibly had his head turned by that. You're going to want to play in front of 80,000 people every week, instead of for a Brighton side that might not get Europe, and might not be in European competition, and that's where you want to be. So yeah, it's definitely, we've got to be looking at replacements. We've got to be looking at that, because I think it's inevitable he's going to get sold now. But we've got to be looking at better ways to play, whether that comes with players we've already got or maybe some new players coming in that I think everybody in the world will know will be looking for a DM. So, yeah, it's a lot to ponder, this whole Carlos Belieber situation, but it's very defining on the season now, isn't it, really? So
I just don't think he should start in the next game after that, with that performance, which is such bad timing, because obviously Milner's come out and said what he said about him. Hörsler said that he's basically said it's all on him now to sort it out. And we, like you said, we thought we were coming out of that after the Newcastle performance, and to go straight back down into a really terrible performance. It'd be such a shame to see him not start, but I just think that's probably for the best for the team.
I was just about to say, actually, that League Cup game against Arsenal, I think it's a perfect opportunity to switch up a few bits. Get Coppola in there maybe, get Biscaglia start. Yeah, I'm sure he will, to be fair, because, it's been a pattern. I know it's been against lower league opposition, but he has proper rotate, hasn't he, in the League Cup? So I can see that being definitely an option, and I think rightly so, especially with Belieber. He needs to be, there has to be something done about his performances, like actual tangible actions, rather than just saying, come on mate, get that mentality up. And it's like, actually, like Jack said, right now you're not starting, or if you do start, you need to give us way more. So I think he will get dropped for the Arsenal game.
I do think that Carlos Belieber is obviously a tricky character to deal with, because it's not just Fabian Hörsler who failed to deal with him. There was plenty of De Zerbi saying that Belieber wasn't ready to play the game that he wanted him to play, and that was definitely under two managers that have sort of found it quite tricky to deal with his mentality, his concentration, and how good he could be with the ball. And and finding those opportunities. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see sort of how this goes on. But yeah, it's a quite a quandary to ponder, isn't it?
Oh, love that. Quandary to ponder. Love that, Jack. Let's talk about the second half then, because we go 2-0 down from the first half into the second half. It's all doom and gloom, and it gets even worse for us because they go 3-0 up. So that's always good. But then Sesko, to be fair, like, good little turn. Obviously gets Van Heck out of position. He's quite high up. There was obviously a big talking point, a foul on Rutter in the build-up, which we're going to talk about. But then, from Mbeumo, you could arguably say, was Dunk a bit standoffish? Did he give him a bit too much space to get his shot off? But another great finish. Like Jack said, another great forward for Man United. Good player, Mbeumo. He caused us problems, got 2 goals. But yeah, let's talk about the foul. I personally think, again, it was a definite foul. He's pulled his shirt. He got away from Shaw. But Ben, let's start with you. What do you think of the foul and the goal in general?
Yeah, I don't understand. When they were celebrating it, I thought, oh, it's fine, this is going to be a foul. The way all the players reacted, it screamed that they weren't just like trying to chance it. It looked like it was a genuine foul and a genuine case. And then when the referee just blew and the game continued, I couldn't believe it. And then seeing the picture of how blatant the pull of the shirt was, I just don't understand how you wouldn't go back, and VAR would have checked it. And I've seen those given where it's gone back and there's a foul in the build up. Do you remember the one that the foul in the Fulham Chelsea game, Josh King's goal, and it was for that? If that's being dragged back as a foul, and it wasn't even a foul, it was probably more a foul on the Fulham player rather than the Chelsea player. If that's going back and they're checking that, how can they go back and look at the Rutter one and think, no, that was absolutely fine? It's just, again, consistency is the key word here. It's a lack of consistency with these guys,
and a real turning point, really. If you look at the how the game then panned out, I'm not saying it absolutely changed the game, we're going to come back and win, but the way it ended up, going down to 3-2, going 3-2 down to the wire, and then getting that final 4th goal. For all we know,
well, Matt, we just brought on our subs. We just changed the midfield and brought Gomez and Milner on. Watson came on, who looked really, really good, and very pleased with him. Immediately, as soon as he came on, I saw the first Lewis Dunk Matoma ball I've seen for a while, where he's just first time whipped the ball and Watson was straight onto it. I haven't seen that in ages and didn't see it the whole game because obviously we don't have that sort of style of winger on the pitch. And yeah, he changed the game, really. I know obviously Milner and Gomez shored things up in midfield as well, but I thought Watson was unbelievable. And yeah, if that goal, if it was still 2-0, we could have got a draw from that game in the end.
Exactly. And Jack, what are your thoughts on the 3rd goal in general?
I touched upon that. I think that the referee was appalling for both sides, and I still stand by that. I didn't think he was very good. But if I'm going to be brutally honest about that decision to allow that goal to stand, it is utterly, utterly pathetic refereeing from the person on the pitch, from all the officials involved on the pitch, everybody on the VAR team. What is the point of them being there if they're not going to make a decision on that? I get that we probably should have had a penalty. Man United should have had a penalty, so it kind of levels itself out. But honestly, look, you can't be watching football and going, right, this is why VAR was bringing in a player can just blatantly pull the shirt. Is shirt pulling not a rule anymore? Honestly, that is appalling refereeing. It's baffling to me that hasn't been given. And you do wonder what the VAR refs are doing. Are they just going, right, okay, we'll check what the team's doing or whatever? Because obviously not, because they didn't do it either way, but what are they doing? Is that, and the Josh King thing is very valid point. Josh King was pulled back for that alleged tackle in the Fulham Chelsea game, and then they apologise and do all that. It's just as much of a howler, and it's just, what is the point of the referees? The referees aren't getting better. They're not making decisions that make any sense in the build-up. You could show that to 100 referees. You show it to anybody afterwards. I've seen United fans saying that it was a foul, and that's not to say that the game would have changed. It probably would have been a lot tighter if they were only 2-0 up. So I don't think there's a massive change in the game. But honestly, some of the refereeing is just shit. And to be honest, and this isn't just a point on yesterday's game, but refereeing this season as a whole has been crap. It has been crap. The Premier Leagues they've not done anything to improve the refereeing. They're just making consistently bad decisions. Now, for me, if they're doing that and they're getting worse, they're just making rubbish decisions. What they should do, as a refereeing team is just scrap VAR and let the referee. Well, no, but just scrap VAR and let the referees make the decisions, because the VAR, there's no point in them being there, is there? So yeah, very frustrating thing to me. I don't think it's got a massive effect on the game. So
I disagree. I think that would have been a big game, like a changing point. If that doesn't
Maybe.
go in, then Welbeck scores less than 10 minutes later. I know if we're then going, then you could easily argue then obviously United score one late at death, but the game would have changed by then. I feel like that one moment changed the whole game.
Maybe it would have, and don't get me wrong. I think that 2-0 and maybe Watson comes on and it changes a bit. I think you're correct. I do agree slightly. But my point is I do think like the refereeing nonsense this season as a whole, in every single game I watch, there is refereeing nonsense. It's like West Ham Leeds on Friday night. I was watching in a pub. West Ham Leeds' first goal. Calvert-Lewin is nowhere near the ball, yet they're taking an age to look at the VAR decision. He's obviously not interfered with the ball, yet they're scrutinising that decision. Yet a decision like that doesn't even get a second look. I think all the referees need to have a serious look at whether their quality is anywhere near as good.
Jack, I don't know. Jack, I don't know if you've seen my appearances on the Overlap, but I do mention that the standard refereeing is an absolute shambles, and it's been a disgrace. And I said this last season, and it's not got any better since then. And I think I think you're bang on. It is Stockley Park might as well be redundant. Like, there's no point of having them if they're just sat there. I genuinely reckon, my theory is, I reckon they're all it's like a bit of a social experiment, and what they all do is they just all have a laugh. Like, they all have like a little big party in there, have a few bevs. They're like, lads, let's just chill, man. Like, where happens?
I thought you were going to say an actual, real, good, legit like conspiracy theory.
No,
no.
They just have a few bevies, mate, and a few donuts.
And what I meant by didn't change the game.
There's certainly a few donuts in that room.
Exactly. The reason that we changed, the reason that we lost is not because of the referee, and I'd make that clear. And I think that's more what I meant by we change the game. We lost the game because we weren't very good, and Man United were better. But little decisions like that are just bad. They're just get better at it. It's the same with the penalty in the first half. Get a bit better. Yeah, just be better at that. So yeah, I was pretty pissed off with that, to be honest. Can
we talk about Tommy Watson though? Because I know we said he was very good.
Yeah.
I think has to start against Arsenal. That would be great. Would love to see him.
Yeah.
He's a lot bigger than I thought he would be. He's pretty tall. I think he might even be like 6'2", which is pretty tall for a winger. Is he 6'3", which is mental for that sort of winger. Looked really, really good. Offered a great attacking threat. He looks like quite a good Matoma replacement. Eventually, if Matoma does go on their left-hand side, they seem quite similar in a weird way. So yeah, very happy with him. Just annoying that we've only just seen him get his first Premier League start, and eventually I'd love to talk about Costulas as well, because I've got a few things to say about that boy as well.
Yeah, that good-looking little bastard, isn't he? He's a looker, isn't he? He's also good at football, which is handy in this profession.
Exactly.
But so we went 3-0 down. Also talking of Watson, obviously he had his little pop shot as well, quite an easy save for Lamans, however you want to say it. But yeah, quite comfortable for him. But then we do get a goal back. Danny Welbeck, Sir Danny steps up free kick. We saw it against, was it Forest last season? A free kick, and then he's done it again this time around. However, questionable goalkeeping in my opinion. Should really be saving that. I mean, I know I'm being harsh there. Good strike, good free kick, but goalkeeper should be doing a little bit better in my opinion. But
it's quite weird. When he stepped up, I thought this is going in. I didn't know it in a weird way. I had that feeling. It did. I didn't realise that it was a poor finish though. I did wonder why it looked like it just went so easily in, but.
Bit too easy that one.
Actually scored another free kick. Yeah, it looks a bit easy, but yeah, glad he did. Obviously, gave us some
great
hope.
Strike. I'm not taking that away from him. It was a great strike to get it on target. Is your number one target when you're stepping up for a free kick, right? So he's done that. But yeah, I just feel like maybe Layman's could have done a little bit better there. But Jack, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, look, I think there was the question mark over a red card for the foul that gave it away.
Yeah.
For me. If he gave the red card, funny enough, actually, so about this, I would like to see what would happen if that was at the other end of the pitch, because we had the exact same situation 4 or 5 seasons ago, where Lewis Dunk got sent off, a straight red card for an alleged last man tackle, which is basically a carbon copy where a player takes a heavy touch and he's gone through him, so he's not last man. So for me, yeah, it's a I think it is a yellow. The ball's nowhere near Minte. He's taking a ridiculous touch.
Yeah. Can we talk about how poor he was in that point of the game as well? Like,
Yeah.
the touch was horrendous. So
Yeah.
bad. But the ball from Tommy Watson was great. But
Yeah.
my God, he absolutely bottled that chance. It's such a good opportunity to get back in the game there. He really, really ruined it.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously, luckily, Welbeck scored from it. But he's got to be doing better there. Some of his decision making
I feel like
and touches are really, really bad.
let's quickly talk about Minter just quickly because he is right one of the most confusing Brighton players in my opinion because he's so good yet not good at the same time. As in, like, he's so quick, his work rate is unmatched. Like off the ball, he's fantastic. The way he gets back, like like I said last podcast, he's been one of our best players of the season. I'm not digging him out here, but he's just a bit of a confusing player to watch because, like you say, it's like sometimes you see this moment of brilliance from him or this electric run he makes, but then he'll have an absolute howler of a touch, or he'll miss an absolute sitter, or he'll make a really stupid decision in terms of what pass to make. So he just if he just gets that final product, that final touch, whether it's a finish, whether it's a first touch, whatever it is, cross, he will be unbelievable. But he is a bit of a confusing player. Do you think, Jack?
Yeah, I think he had a stinker yesterday, to be honest. Like, I didn't think he was very good. I think he was really poor.
That's your word of the day.
Look, yeah, and I do think hooked and stinker. No, stinker and hooked, isn't it? No, I just think probably because the pub in Manchester smelled so bad, I can't stop thinking of the word stink. That I went in, but no, it was he had such a stinker. I think he just did it. His decision making can be all over the place sometimes, and he's such a raw young talent. I can't fault his work rate yesterday. I thought he worked really hard. Just stuff wasn't coming off for him, and I think that really heavy touch kind of summed up his game, really, that he got into that great position, great bit of work, and then just the quality wasn't quite there. But luckily we did score from it, so, it was the opportunity to get back in the game. Like I said, it wasn't a red card. Get back in the game. Maybe we can go for it. I think he came very close with a chance. It actually ended up being a Lamon's save, which, I find it so ironic. This was just after we went when it went 3-1, and he sort of crossed it in, which would have tipped just inside the post. I think it was 3-1 anyway. And Lamon's made a great save to just tip it round the post. And then the referee starts thinking about whether it's a corner or a goal kick, and he's appealing for it to be a goal kick. Therefore, completely saying that his save was non-existent. I just find it an ironic thing that goalkeepers do. But yeah, I think Watson came on, changed the game. We looked a lot more dangerous. 2 fast wingers on either side. Ferdy and De Kuyper, I thought were okay, actually. I didn't think they were some of our worst players yesterday. But, then Ferdy drops back into the left-back role, and then they sort of linked up quite well on that side. So, that was really positive to see from Tommy Watson. A player that Herzler said quite a few times isn't ready. I think that's all been the story of the season with a couple of players who did make a big impact yesterday once we get on to Babis Kostulas. But, it's good to see that we're actually not afraid to play these players now, and that they're being given the opportunity to perform. And he's definitely well worth him for a shout on Wednesday night.
Yeah, no, 100%. And talking of Kostulas, he did score a great header, good ball in for Milner, good little run. I don't know if you guys saw it in real time, but it was a fantastic sort of like the movement, sort of to dip in, dip back out. Done really, really well there. And a great header. Massive goal as well. First Greek player to score in the Premier League, I believe, if my stats are correct.
That's not true.
That's not true.
Okay, cool. Fake news. Great. All right.
The first Greek player.
Samaras exists.
Premier League.
No, Samaras, but is he in the Prem?
Wait, Premier League?
Yeah, it's Samaras.
Did he score in the Premier League for us?
He must have played.
Not
for us. You said, you said just the first Greek Premier League.
Sorry.
player.
No, sorry. Sorry. I meant Brighton, obviously.
Yeah,
Fuck me.
yeah.
Right.
Jesus Christ. Right, fucking hell, boys. I'm not, mate, my knowledge is not... Jesus Christ! You doubted? You thought I was the first ever Greek player to win the Premier League? What are you talking about? Right, yeah. So we was like,
It's all
well, yeah,
about-
okay. that's my bad, but I obviously meant.
It is 9 p.m. on a Sunday.
Yeah, it is not. It's been a long day, all right. Anyway, he's the first Greek player to score for Brighton in the Premier League. There you go. Happy now, boys. Yeah, great moment.
Our second youngest.
Yeah,
second youngest in the Premier.
That I don't know, but I'll take your word for it. But
Yeah,
it was a great moment for him.
Actually, there is a very interesting stat about that goal, actually, that it is the biggest age gap between assister and scorer ever in the Premier League.
A lot.
It's
a great stat.
21 years, I believe, between the two players that's assisted and scored. James Milner over to Babis Kostoulas. I feel like every cool stat about Brighton this season is
about age.
It is about Milner, isn't it? So, but yeah, no, great cross into the box, and yeah, I think going back to the original point we were making about the little run he made, is a great sort of run to the near post and a flick on into the corner. And again, another player that we've been told wasn't quite ready yet, and has come on and really proven a point. I thought it was very interesting that he came on before Seamus. Just that, Seamus has had a few games, and he obviously thought Babis was great. The opportunity for him to play, maybe he thought it was the right game, and yeah, he looked really good. He made a really good run when he first came on, where he took quite a few players. He did do a little bit of running into a black hole sort of run, where he did just kind of get stuck and didn't really know where to put it. But look, he can hold off players. He looked like he was quite powerful, quite strong. So it'd be really good to see how he develops.
I've been so critical of these, not critical of them, but more critical of the club by putting so much money and faith in these two fixing our season. Not on them, but on the club. And for the first time, I've watched him and watched one of them and thought they actually do have that X factor. You can look at players, and João Pedro has the X factor. Alexis McAllister has the X factor. Babis looks like he does have the X factor. I know we've only seen a few minutes of him. Obviously, he made his debut against Newcastle, but he just has that little bit about him where you think, yeah, there actually is an unbelievable player in there somewhere. And again, he doesn't look 18. He looks a lot older than he is, but 18 years old.
Looking boy as well.
Yeah, good looking lad. Yeah. Do appreciate that.
I sort of try and look a bit like him, but anyway. Moving on.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, it is late on a Sunday.
I was going to say, Maz, you should ask him where he sorts his barnet out, because you can do that a little bit.
It looks like Maz has asked for the Kostoulas actually.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I've gone.
Oh,
I've gone for a bit of a little trim, a bit longer.
Babis Barbers. There you go.
Babis
if it doesn't work out at Brighton, there you go.
Bosh. But no, what a great moment for him though, wasn't it? Great goal, and a big moment for him. Scored at Old Trafford. It must have been an incredible feeling. Hopefully he can kick on as well. Which, we all. I like I said, I think the League Cup against Arsenal, I think we're going to see a lot of these players. Probably might see Kostoulas and Simas up top. We're going to see Watson on the left. We're going to see Coppola and Buscaglia at centre back. It's going to be great, and I can't wait. But yeah. All remains to be seen. But then, boys, they did just, put the final nail in the coffin. But, nervy few minutes at the end there. But, yeah, and Buemo, fantastic finish just to kill us off. And that was game over. Any thoughts on defending? On the goal itself?
Not really. Non-existent, but at that stage in the game, I can excuse it. Because, you're 3-2 down in injury time. If you're not going for it, you're not going to get that third goal. So for me, it happens when you're going forward a bit. We all know how that sort of works in football. So I'm not too disappointed about that, because I just think, if you're going to lose 3-2, you might as well lose 4-2. So yeah, great finish by Mbuemo, actually, to be fair.
You say that, Jack, and then it gets to the end of the season and we miss out on Europe by a goal. And it's like, oh, cheers, lads. Yeah. That game against Man United.
If we miss out on Europe by a goal, you won't be hearing from me very much anymore, I think. Really.
I mean, right now, even thinking about Europe, it seems a bit of a... Actually, no, we're actually not doing bad. I don't know why it's all doom and gloom. We're actually all right. We're actually doing okay.
Yeah.
Like you said, Jack, in the preview, we're on a four-game unbeaten run. We're sat 13th in the league, and we're only 4 points off Man City in 5th. So it's not all doom and gloom. It's just a frustrating result.
Yeah. And I do think that,
perspective is key.
We shouldn't look at Man United. I think they're finally coming good. I'm going to be brutally honest. I think they're going to start picking up results now. I think they, the Liverpool win was a massive booster for them. They beat the champions elect last year. Admittedly, they're on a terrible run at the moment, Liverpool. But yeah, like I think it's not the end of the world result. I do think this is as well, and I'm sure as we discussed throughout this is not one to blame on the manager. This is one that I think the players just weren't quite good enough yesterday. I do have a little criticism of the manager at one point. Fine, I'll do it. Whatever, I don't care. If we're yeah, if I think Hersler needs to make a decision now, and having watched the first two goals, he needs to make a big decision about our passing game. For me, the passing game isn't crisp enough. Isn't like, De Zerbi, and not to use that comparison, but the last manager we had played a very crisp passing, building from the back, playing out sort of move. If we're going to play like that, we need to be so good at it in the Premier League. You need to be so well drilled. And we're playing a game and we're just not well drilled enough. Now, whether that means, Hersler goes into training and it is like De Zerbi, like the stories of him on the training ground where it's just like pass for like hours on end in training. Maybe we need to start working on that, because for me, you look at the second goal especially, we're trying to pass out in the back and we're just not, it's not being executed well. And I do actually think for the first time Hersler in his press conference made a good point and didn't just talk a load of crap about, positives and togetherness. Like he said, it wasn't well executed and that there was a sort of plan. But he needs to get a real grip with his team soon.
Just quickly on that, Jack, I just want to ask you, because it's interesting. I agree to you to an extent, but then let's say talk about passing, right? That is, let's be real. Hersler can't come on the pitch and make sure their passes are crisp.
No,
their passes
I agree.
are on point. And I think that's like, for example, look at Baleba yesterday. Some of his passes were terrible. Even like Ayari, I think, made a few misplaced passes. So if your two centre midfielders are struggling to make string two passes together, that's not going to help the ethos of the team, or like just the players on the pitch thinking, well, fuck me, if our two centre midfielders who are meant to be the best passers of the ball in the team can't do it, what chance has everyone else got, kind of thing? Not to say that that's how that works. Well, obviously every player should have a passing ability, but yeah, surely that does. You can't really pin all the blame on Hersler for that.
I agree with what you're saying there, but then I think the other caveat of my point is that maybe we need to try something different. Maybe passing isn't our thing, and that's what I need to that's what I'm trying to say, in that if we're gonna go with this system, that I think we've got some success in, and when it comes together, we do look really, really good. But if we want to go forward with that, we need to start making sure that that's our bread and butter. Because the past problems that we had yesterday were not enforced, or they weren't very difficultly enforced. It wasn't like, Man United were playing this high press that was just making us lose possession straight away. They pressed us a bit, but, there were sloppy mistakes. They weren't. So if this is what we want to go with, we need to make sure we're very good. But I think it doesn't come down to the Baleba problem again, that if Baleba isn't playing that well, then we need to look at alternatives who can play that system better, or whether we just go for a completely different system altogether. Maybe Baleba's struggling a little bit with the passing, because I don't think passing's ever been his top attribute. It's been his driving forward. So maybe the manager needs to sort of go in a little bit, have a look at what we've got, what are our options, because at the end of the day, that is his job, to sort of use the players as best to play a best system. And one of his big positives, allegedly, and I think we have seen it at different times, is his adaptability. So adapt, see what's in your squad, adapt. You've had a year and a half to sort of do this. This is, the opportunity to do it. So, look, I'm not saying that we can blame the manager for players playing badly, because I do agree with your point. If our players are just playing crap on the pitch and not executing his ideas, but at the same time, he needs to look at that, and if they're not executing his ideas, then he needs to change a different system. It's like Russell Martin at Southampton. When he played that same system, and the players clearly weren't capable of doing it, he never changed it, and they just lost and lost and lost. And the same time to him at Rangers. Is the same thing happened with Fabian Hersler, where he's going, no, this system will work eventually, and he's not being able to train or get the players up to that level. Because at the end of the day, I think, not to go on more, but, De Zerbi had the system which he would not change, but he made sure the players were incredibly well drilled in it, and that's all that they did, and that's why he's a good coach. Whereas I think Hersler is trying a little bit. Let's try this system, but if it's not working, it's not working, and maybe we need to try something else. I think we just need to really get across to this midfield. We've got Ayari, who's superb, but it's who plays alongside him at the moment, which is a big question. Me personally, I think it's Weaver. I think it's Weaver, and I've said this.
I've said it all season. Yeah. I think we're all said it all season. In our defences. I think even Ben has said
as long as it gets an actual right back, which is interesting, cheers, mate. As long as we've got an actual right back playing right back, that's all I care about. And if that means Weaver goes to the midfield, it's fine.
Let's just quickly, let's quickly touch on this, because I'm not blaming this and the reason why we aren't winning as many games potentially, but injuries obviously have been our Achilles heel now for the past 2-3 years. And look, Joel Veltman, we know how good he can be, Mr. Consistent, not being available. Then you've got Matoma out, who again on his day one of the best wingers in the Premier League. We're missing a couple of players here and there, which I think does, to use a big word here, the equilibrium of the team does get unbalanced, because you then lose a Joel Veltman or you lose a Matoma, and sort of what you've been training on, maybe the training ground and the sort of the system you want to play might not be able to be executed as well. And when you've got players like Baleva not performing, then we've had to go to right back. It's like, it does just slightly unbalance that team, in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah.
But I would like to see Weaver play EM. That's my wish.
I think the Joel Veltman problem is also another problem, that he's not been fit, but he wasn't fit at the end of last season. And for everything you can blame on Hersler, and I think last season he had a lot less of a leg to stand on in the recruitment section, because he had such a huge squad with so many different options. As much as injuries did become a big problem, maybe at the back he didn't have them all, because we had Veltman and Lamptey then, and it does seem that we've sort of kicked this right back problem away. Ferdy, the idea that he's a right back, I don't think he is. I don't think anybody seems to view him as a right back, including himself sometimes. And I like Ferdy, but it seems that right back is not where he's going to be in the future. Which is a little bit disappointing, because I think he would have been great to fit into that right back role, but he's perfectly capable at left back. I think we gave Lamptey a new contract in the summer, which kind of meant, we go with this. Then we sold Lamptey, and he was moved on without any replacement coming in. We've needed this right back problem, and then it sort of indicated, Weaver's going to be our first choice option. I'm sorry, but he's not the first choice option there for me. He had a bit of a stinker as well yesterday. I didn't think he was great. He offers a little.
What I don't get is, if we're saying that Weaver's our first choice right back, he's nowhere near the model of what De Hoyper is, who is probably the ideal fullback for our club. So how can Hersler say he's our first choice when he's nothing like what our fullbacks actually should be like in De Hoyper? That's baffling to me. Like, it should be a balance. It should be two similar players on both sides of mine.
I think for me though, if you have two very similar to De Hoyper, who's a more attacking fullback, your team becomes a little bit unbalanced, in that you've got both fullbacks pushing up, and you essentially have a two at the back for two. What is? I mean, ultimately, I think we probably need to refresh stuff at the back a little bit. I'd be surprised if Boscagli isn't looking for a January move, because he's a Champions League centre-back who, despite us not keeping a clean sheet all season, isn't getting a sniff. I'd be very disappointed if I was him, just on a separate note. But I think having a more defensive right-back and an attacking left-back does kind of work, because you can sort of... It leaves you a little bit more balanced. But I do think you are right in that he's not a full-back. He doesn't push on. He doesn't do link-up play. You've got a great winger in front of you in Minter, who can also help defensively. He's been great defensively. So I do agree that maybe we should be looking at one that suits our system a bit more. But this right back problem has been kicked down a road for about 3 or 4 years. Every summer window we go, we need a right back. And we've had an injury prone right back, and God bless him, Tariq, but he, and he's got injured again, which kind of proves the point. And Veltman's definitely becoming more injured as we go on. We need to be looking at right back, unless they see Charlie Tasker as the answer. I think he's a very good player, but I just don't think he's ready yet. But we'll see on that one, definitely.
No, yeah, 100%. It's like you said, every transfer window, right back, never happens, and we sign 3 wingers and 4 forwards. So yeah, always good to see the recruitment anyway.
It's like today, I saw us being linked with Jaden Philogene. We don't need another winger. Stop this.
mental.
Just on that,
Wow.
so did you see Cozy Dewberry cooking again? He's scored like another late winner for Bolton. So yeah, that'd be quite a good option if he does ever become like Premier League level. Also, Evan Ferguson as well. Looks like they're going to terminate his loan in Jan as well.
Oh,
What the
wow.
hell's going to happen to him? Apparently, he's got 0 goals in his last 9 games or something like that.
Yeah, he's not doing anything for Rome, and they're hardly playing him, so it's not really looking very good for him. I think there will forever be a mystery over Evan, because he was, I thought he'd be the future of the club. I really did. I thought he'd be, we finally unearthed a centre forward, and he just hasn't done it. Whether it's injury, mindset, whatever, it's just not happening for him. And then Yalkuye doesn't seem to be tearing up.
Got sent off the other day.
Yeah, I witnessed him headbutt Steve Cook.
No way.
That
Two Brighton Marvel Universe.
That was a weird
together.
thing in South Wales on my own, and all of a sudden, Steve Cook.
That was really clever from Cook. To be fair, Cook proper rattled him.
Oh yeah.
And then Yalcoy just showed his inexperience and just went bam.
Yeah.
So
Be a learning thing,
but
but
yeah, 100%. And also, finally, talking of loans, that we're on the topic, Carl Rushworth obviously broke the Coventry record and then conceded, I think, like a minute later, which was quite funny. But, which was good fun. But no, he looks fantastic as well. We all knew he was a top quality goalkeeper. Obviously, never really got the chance at Brighton, but that could be interesting if Verbruggen obviously goes. I know we spoke about this in our group chat, but if Verbruggen goes, will he be the answer? But I think if Verbruggen stays, I can easily see Rushworth leaving in the summer because he wants to play.
Yeah.
I think any player does
And-
at that level.
is what Beadle's starting to get time at Birmingham as well. They're not doing very well, but he's starting to play, which is good. But yeah, that was a positive note. Wasn't it?
Yeah. We're leaving it with something. We're leaving it with something. But all right, boys. Well, any other business before we wrap up? Anything else anyone want to mention? Jack's exempt from this, but
I don't play. No.
I'm joking. No. Anyone else got anything else? Jack, anything?
Roll on Arsenal on Wednesday.
Yeah, looking forward to Arsenal on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Be a good opportunity. Big away end. I think all 3 of us are there at the.
Yeah.
We'll do a Seagulls Social meetup in Miller's Pub. No, that's not true. I did this last time. I remember last time we played Arsenal, I said this, and I'm going to say the same thing again. Do not approach me. Do not talk to me. I don't want to talk to you. I don't have any desire to talk to you. I'm famous. You're not. Don't talk to me. I'm joking. I always it's actually really nice saying when people come up to you and say hello and they enjoy listening to the podcast. I've had a lot of Facebook messages from random people. Guy from Canada, whose name completely escapes me at this exact moment. Guy from Canada who listens. So shout out to him. It's very nice hearing from you. Messages.
Seagulls Social going international, maybe. I love that.
Yeah.
Maz also had a weird one today. We're trying to get someone to move into one of our rooms, and this guy looked quite cool, so I messaged him saying if he's free, and then saw one of his pictures he's actually wearing like a retro Brighton shirt. So I looked at his Instagram, like he's got no mutual, so I thought, maybe it's just random. But their message just like our copy and paste message saying, I'm looking for a new housemate, but I said love the Brighton shirt. And he went, mate, Seagulls Social just got back from United away, Maz and the boys.
No way.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's not the
I like how he
that's
said
the
Maz and the
first
boys.
time
Well,
it's happened. Yeah, Maz and the boys. Yeah. What about Jack?
Jack. Yeah.
It's Jack and the boys.
Podcast. My podcast.
That's class though. Love that, boys.
Yeah.
Honestly, big shout out to everyone who watches and listens. Like I had it a few times when at the Newcastle game as well. People come up to me like saying they love the pod. So yeah, everyone who listens and tunes in, honestly, like absolute legends. We wouldn't be able to do it without anyone watching. Because let's be honest, if there's like one person watching, we probably wouldn't do it. But anything over 3 is 3 a crowd. Anything over 3, we would have taken it. So
Jack's mum and his 2 cats listening.
I only have 1 cat.
Oh,
that's you, told him.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not dead. I've only ever.
He's only ever had
Not
one.
dead. I've only ever had 1 cat.
oh,
Only ever had 1. So
Incredible.
to the imaginary.
This is what Ben brings. He doesn't bring much to the pod, but he does bring moments like this. So
Yeah.
You know what? I should start a podcast that's not about football because then I get to talk a lot more. It'd be great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because basically, who was it? Who was it? Put that comment saying Ben doesn't have any good opinions. That was great. I remember that.
Yeah. Marshall.
Yeah, another
was.
Marshall. That's it. Big up Marshall.
Where's he now, anyway?
He's probably watching now, actually. So shout out to you, Marshall.
Yeah, watching
Chatting. Do you know what Marshall's probably doing? Chatting some shit about stats. Because that's all he does. Just write numbers in his room. Little.
XG that, XG this. But no, big shout out to everyone watching and listening. Thank you so much for all your support. And on that note, we have been Seagulls Social. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure to tune in. We're going to do a preview for the Arsenal game. Oh, apologies for the lack of Man United preview. That was on me. The boys were busy. So was I, actually. In the end, I actually got busy. And
we were going to get a Man United fan. And we know there's 3 listeners out there who hate that. So we went against it.
Yeah, it was an executive decision. We all came together and thought, do you know what? Because everyone hates having Man United fans on, we're going to skip this one. But no, apologies for that. We will make sure to get back to usual programming in this next week. And on that note, we shall see you for the Arsenal preview.
Yeah.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace.